36 Garage. More S13 content coming your way. I did mention I don't know if you guys remember, but I mentioned that the issues with the S13 is running very lean, not idling the best. Sometimes it wouldn't even idle. The thing I mentioned about the mass airflow sensor, I've already replaced that twice, still giving me that same issue. With the MAF on, that's with the MAF on. With the MAF off, it's running on fail-safe mode and the idle was smooth. That's why I replaced the mass airflow sensor, but that didn't fix the issue. I haven't had time to do any like deep troubleshoot on this car. You know, I've just been busy doing the whole suspension rebuild and intercooler. I haven't had time to, you know, troubleshoot on what's wrong, but you know, I figured today would be the best time to figure out why the car is running so lean. The first thing, what I'm going to be doing is checking the fuel system, make sure I'm getting good fuel pressure and there's no leaks, no clogs in the the fuel filter. And we're going to be checking the fuel regulator. I've already got a whole bunch of parts for this car. It's just been sitting in my shop like 4 months. I just haven't had time to install them onto the car. I've already checked the boost leaks or any vacuum leak. That's all done. I did a smoke test, no leaks. So that just leaves me the fuel system. So yeah, so we're gonna be doing today, and yeah, I'll take you guys along with me and see what we can find. And I really hope that we can get this car fixed. I really want to drive this car. I bought this car not running and just been fixing the car and didn't even get a chance to take it out onto the road. Just been moving it back and forth in the shop. Yeah, let's get it started. Alright, so like I said, I already done a boost leak test and a vacuum leak test and no leaks. I mean, there was a slight leak coming from one of the couplers, but I already got that taken care of. So the next step for me was just to target the fuel system. So what I'm going to be doing, attach a fuel pressure tester and make sure that I get the correct fuel pressure coming out, which should be 34 psi at idle. And yeah, if I don't get the correct pressure, then we can work our way backward. But I'm just gonna put a pressure tester here just between the filter and the rail. So let me go ahead and get my pressure test. Alright, got my fuel pressure tester kit. Alright, so let's see, what do we need? Let's take a look here one more time. So again, this is how I'm going to be doing it. Run an inline T between the fuel filter and the rail. So let's look for a T. Maybe this one right here, this one. So this end of the T will be going on this hose. This is going to come off, of course. So yeah, this end of the T will go here on this hose, and then I'll have another hose right here, and this hose will go on the opposite side of this T, and then this opposite side of the hose will just go straight into the rail. I hope that makes sense. I'm just very terrible at explaining things. I'll put it on and then show you guys. It'll make a lot more sense. And just like that, guys, kind of getting the idea. Just put a T in between and just add another hose on the other end. So now I'm ready to install the gauge on here. We'll see what the pressure is. shoot. It's leaking from somewhere. That's not good. So there's a fuel leaking out just right under the fuel filter. This end of the hose. It seems tight, but there's fuel leaking out from it. So I'm gonna try to tighten that up. On the reading, it was showing pressure, but it was like below specification. So I'm gonna get that sorted out first, and then we can do the test again. That's never happened to me before. I don't know why now it just decided to leak. I'm gonna tighten that. I'm gonna tighten up that hose and then redo the test one more time. So I'm showing no fuel pressure. It stays at 0. I don't even know how this thing is running. But yeah, there's no fuel pressure on the gauge. I don't understand how this car is still running. There's no fuel pressure and the gauge is reading, well, it's fluctuating between rich lean, but it's mostly lean, running kind of high 17s. Yeah, I'm still kind of confused. There's no fuel pressure, but the car is still idling. Not perfect, but it's still idling with no fuel pressure. So I don't know. The first time I did it, we had about 24 or 25 psi, and now it just shows 0, or maybe it's showing pressure but it's very low. I mean, we do have fuel coming through, but it's not showing up on the gauge the second time or the third time around. So what I'm gonna do next is to install this before the filter. You guys can see 0 psi on the gauge again. I don't even know how the car is still running. I mean, like, is it running on ghost fuel or something? My initial guess was it could be the pump not pushing out enough fuel to the rail. Therefore, there's low pressure at the rail and the gauge does not detect it because the pressure is too low for the gauge to detect. But there's still fuel going to the line when I remove the hose. The next thing I'm gonna check is make sure there's enough voltage going to the pump. And I'm gonna do a voltage drop at the pump as well. I have the new fuel pump, I have the new regulator, and everything else already on the side. I don't want to just replace everything at once. I'm gonna have to upgrade the whole fuel system anyway, so it's not like I'm just throwing, you know, parts randomly onto the car. Everything on this car, the fuel system, is pretty much stock injectors, stock fuel pump, and stock regulators. When I first bought the car, I was planning to upgrade the whole fuel system anyways, and I'm just using this as an excuse to start replacing the whole fuel system. But yeah, so I'm gonna start by checking the fuel pump, just make sure it gets enough power going through there. Right now I have the car running on hardwired the fuel pump. Actually, I installed a separate relay and hardwired that relay to a toggle switch. I did that because the old wiring was just crap, you know, so I just ran a new wire straight to the pump itself. So I mean, I had it like that for a while, and I just no issue with that setup. Maybe the pump is crapping out now, it's on its way out. So but yeah, we'll start with that and then see what we find. Alright, so this is what I got set up in the back. You can see in the front here, this is a circuit breaker. This just connects to the battery, and the other end goes to the starter and alternator. So this is the main power wire. In the back of here, this is my relay that I installed for the pump. Right now it's currently mounted on this. This is the ground wire for the relay, and this is mounting up the relay in the back too. So onto the wires, this yellow one here, I'm sorry, not yellow, I'm colorblind or something, but this green one here, this actually is the power wire that connects to this white and purple. This white and purple is a 12 volt supply for the pump. This comes from the ECU. It's controlled by the ECU, and now I have it on a toggle switch, so I just turn them on with a toggle switch when I need it, whenever I'm trying to start a car. But yeah, so that has its own wire coming from the relay, so it's a straight wire, and this other red wire here is a constant power, and I put a 10 amp fuse in between, or is it 10 amp or 5 amp, I can't remember. But yeah, so what we're gonna be doing is checking the voltage going to the pump, which is this one right here that had a splice. Alright, so I got my handy multimeter ready to go. Setting is at DC volts. So in order to do a voltage drop, you need to create some kind of load. So what I'm gonna do is start the car. Alright guys, I have the car running right now, and it's gonna be kind of hard to hear me, so bear with me, I'll try my best. Alright, so first thing first, you want to test the lead to make sure it works. I have my multimeter set on DC volts. Black lead on negative and red lead on positive. Just want to check the leads. Okay, so the lead's all good. Alright, so we're gonna leave the negative probe on battery negative. Red lead, this is gonna go to pump ground. I have the pump ground right there, right here. So I'm just gonna put the lead on and see what kind of reading we get. This is about 0.007. We don't want it to be higher than 0.2 or 200 millivolts. So next we're gonna test the positive side. So we'll take this black lead off, red lead on positive, and then this black lead will be going on to the power wire for the pump. Alright, so as you can see, 0.28, which is almost, was climbing up there, is almost 200 millivolts. So we do have some kind of resistance in the positive, but I don't think it should be enough to cause the pump not to work at its best. So it could be either this terminal post, the positive, or it could be some wiring. I'm going to test the voltage drop between the positive terminal and this clamp. So let me see. So we get 0. So there's no resistance. There's no voltage drop between these the post and the battery clamp. That tells me the positive wire is good, and it could be some wirings from to the toggle switch. Alright, so as you guys can see on the multimeter, the first test we did was the ground side, the voltage drop on the ground side. It's still within specification, and we went ahead and did the positive side. It's still within specs. So the specification for voltage drop is you don't want anything higher than 0.2 volts. Anything higher, there's some kind of corrosion or resistance within the lines. The wiring is good to go, and that just leads me to the pump. I mean, this is like a 30 plus years car, and everything here is all stock, so it's probably corroded, and it just, the pump isn't even pushing anything out of there. So it's a good thing that I'll be upgrading to a new aftermarket pump, 255 Walbro pump. I also bought a few pressure regulator as well with some gauge on it, so that's pretty cool. Take the pump out and do a little visual inspection and see how bad it looks, but that's gonna be the next step. Oh, I didn't even see this. Check this out, guys. This is the white and purple power wire to the fuel pump, and take a look at this. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. I bought this magnetic light from Amazon. It's made by Hot Light, and it's pretty cool, and it's LED. This light is nice and compact. It's on the back end, just magnet. Stick it onto any metal part, and voila! Look at that. Very nice difference. So here, let me just give you guys a better look at it. I mean, right, and it's so hard to see. Right there, you see that? It's exposed. It doesn't look damaged, but it's just not insulated. All the copper parts still intact though, so I mean, I would have. It should still get 12 volts because the wires are not damaged. But I'm gonna be testing it out anyway. And look at this. Check out this ground wire too. Oh my goodness. Honestly, I took this cover out a few times when I was installing the relay and running this line. I didn't really take a closer look at these wirings, you know, which I should have, but now I am. So now that I got a good look at it, I can see how bad these looks. I know they sell this cover, aftermarket one, and it's aluminum, so I might be upgrading to that so I don't have to deal with these. The pump is still receiving 12 volts all the way to the pump cover, so it tells me that the issue is still not within the wiring. It's probably the pump. Before you start taking off the hose, which is going to be the first thing you're going to be removing, you want to mark on the hose so you know which one is which and which one goes on which side. So that's how I'm going to do it. Check it out, guys. Look at how dirty and corroded it is. Look at the filter. My gosh, look at that. Everything's all cracked on here. Oh look. Look at what I found. It's a crack in the hose. Maybe this is the reason why I'm not getting enough fuel pressure through the rail. I'm glad this is getting replaced. But damn. I don't know how well you guys can see on camera, but the tank is also filthy in there. Debris at the very bottom. There's the nut right there staring at me. This is brand new gas too. I just filled up. I guess I'm gonna have to suck them back out. And damn. But anyway, we show you the pump once again. And there's probably fuel leaking from here too. Look at how loose this is. Look at that. See? Look at how loose. See that? Check this out. See? But anyway, this might be our culprit right here. Oh my gosh, look at this filter. Damn. Holy crap. Look at all the connections. Corrosion. I'm gonna get this a good clean and before we put it back on. Even the fuel level sensor too. Give it a good clean. Let me give it a good clean first and see how it comes out. Oh my goodness, man. This thing is gone. Alright guys, so I just got the sending unit cleaned up and it's actually not that bad. I think I did a pretty good job on it. I mean, comparing to how it looked before versus now, it's not that bad. Not that bad. There's still some spots that I can't get into, like behind here, but I'll try to squeeze in with like a sandpaper or something. This is what I use to clean it up. It's just some steel wire wheel and a drill gun. Did the job. Just kind of went over it and it took off some of the surface rust and hard deposit on here. And here I like to show you guys what I purchased. Give you a walkthrough. Alright, so I had purchased everything off of Z1 Motorsport website. You can purchase them on any other website like Njuku or whatever dealers you trust, I guess. Here's a kit that I bought. Was not really a kit because I had to purchase everything separately. First off is going to be fuel pressure regulator. This is the Tome fuel pressure regulator. I bought the Type S. There's different types like Type L, Type R, which is designed for high boost application and high fuel demand. While on the other hand, Type S is just a more a general purpose that just replaces the old tired factory regulator. So I won't be, I'm okay with the stock boost pressure. I'm not really upgrading to a bigger injector just yet, so I do not need that much fuel supply. So Type S is good enough for me. I also bought the liquid filled analog gauge, also Tome as well. So yes, I had to buy this separately, but this is optional if you want to gauge. I mean, me personally, I like to see fuel pressure at all time. You know, it just gives me peace in mind. You know, like I know if there's a fuel leak somewhere, I can kind of see if when it's showing low pressure. But you know, it's always good to have something that you can look at instead of just having doubts all the time. But it's recommended to get a gauge if you're gonna upgrade to adjustable fuel pressure regulator. So on to the next one. This is gonna be the fuel pressure regulator to fuel rail adapter. This piece here, it's needed to complete the installation because the stock, let me show you guys. Because the stock S13 fuel pressure regulator has a built-in adapter on the body of the regulator. Wow, the Tome fuel pressure regulator does not have that adapter on the body. It just has like these 2-in fitting. So that's why this is needed. So you can mount the regulator onto the fuel rail. But yeah, don't forget to purchase this at the same time or you'll be waiting for this little part to come in while you have everything else set up. You can actually buy everything here, all three, from Faction Motorsports. They sell a whole kit on their website. I found out after I purchased these. Another thing that I bought, this is not from Z1 Motorsport, but I just got it here locally from O'Reilly. This is Z32 fuel filter, because I'm pretty much overhauling the whole fuel system except for the fuel injectors. I might as well replace the fuel filter as well, because that's probably old and dirty. And this Z32 filter is actually a lot bigger than the stock S13. As you can see, the side-by-side comparison, it's way bigger. It will actually filter more than the stock ones. I guess it doesn't really matter how many fuel comes in here, because it has a bigger housing. They still got to go through the regulator, and that regulates to whatever fuel pressure you set at. I guess the advantage of this is just to filter more. So, and then again, it is about 2 times the size, but it will still fit in this stock S13 bracket. Just have to spread it out. Show you guys if I can with one hand. Just spread it out as much as you can, and then just like that. See, it holds on, and then this fuel line can just hook onto the side here. It's just like stock. Last but not least is this Walbro 255 in-tank fuel pump. This pump produces a flow rate of 255 liters of fuel per hour, which is more than stock. And the outside diameter is compact enough to fit into the existing hanger assembly without any modification. The only modification that would need to be done is wiring harness here. That probably might be the hardest thing when installing it, just the soldering part. But yeah, these are the last two, and everything else is stickers, Tomei sticker, and some Z1 Motorsport stickers. Alright, so with all of these parts, I'm hoping that I could fix the rough idling issue. I know the leaning issue, I probably might not be able to fix it without a standalone ECU to just kind of fine tune it. But the main concern is just the rough idle and the occasional the car dies if I don't give enough gas. But that's because I was not getting enough fuel pressure through the rail. I was getting less than 10 psi, and just enough for the car to be idling, but it was not idling perfect. So yeah, because of the fuel pump, the hose was a crack in the middle, and yeah, there was like a split in the middle of the hose, and then one of the ends were not clamped down tightly, and that's probably the main reason why it was giving out low fuel pressure. The fuel pump itself, I mean, it was corroded, and I don't even know how long it's been in there, so it's always good to upgrade to a new fuel pump, or just new parts in general, and start from fresh, brand new, so you can kind of keep track on the age of the parts. But yeah, I'm talking too much, so let's just get going with the installation. Alright y'all, we're back again at the workbench. As you can see on the table, this is the old sending unit. I cleaned it up just a little bit, and there's still some rust spots right in the corner that's really hard to get to. They're just minor stuff. I mean, I can get to clean it again once I'm done doing all the wiring. It's quite rusty. When I took this out from the tank, everything was rusty. The old pump, let me just show you the old pump here. You can take a look. There's so much rust on the surface and corrosion. You should have seen the filter. It's all filled with a lot of debris, and it was just disgusting. Yeah, this pump is no good already. I mean, look, everything just falling apart. This is a new pump. As you can see, it's slightly longer than the old ones, and the connector kind of looks the same. I mean, here, let me try to test it out. So this is a connector that comes from the unit, and it fits. It doesn't seem like it's the factory connector though. Yeah, right there, see? You can see someone soldered it back on because the soldering is on the front. The factory is in the back. So you can tell that someone went through and soldered it together. Which is better than just splicing it on here and then solder it. So it looks more cleaner this way, like a factory. And yeah, this new pump's gonna go on. This is gonna go in the trash. I mean, even though it looks rusty, I think the pump still works. I mean, it was pumping fuel, but just wasn't enough, because that leads me to this. This is the main culprit right here. You can see the slit on here. This big slit here, and then behind that there's another hole in here. So while the car was running, fuel was spilling out from here, and at the same time this hose was on here, and it wasn't clamping down tightly on one end, and fuel was also coming out from that. So that explains why I wasn't getting enough fuel pressure to the rail. So the pump was actually still working, it just all the fuel was spilling out from here. This little guy can do a lot of damage. Here's the level sensor. So this just sits on right here on the side, and it just goes up and down according to the fuel level. And I feel resistance on here because there's a spring in the back here as well. It's kind of rusty. That might be the reason why there's resistance on here, because I don't think this will do anything. It's just I have to apply a little bit of pressure just to get this moving. So I doubt the fuel is going to do anything. So we're gonna need a new sensor. Oh, and also another thing is these posts here where all the wires connects to. The power wire, which is the white and purple, there's the copper is exposed, so it can break anytime. Just like the ground wire, it's already broken off. I try to, kind of splice it back in, and it broke off again. So what I'm thinking about doing is drilling out these posts. So I'm gonna snip these wires out and drill out these posts and replace them with a nut and a bolt. So this just goes through the hole, and followed by some nylon washer, and then some heat shrink. That way the bolt does not make contact with metal and shorting out the wires. I'm going to be reusing the factory wires still. Yeah, it's just too much corrosion. They do sell a kit for this, a pre-made kit where it just bolts on. Well, of course you got to drill it out first. They sell a kit on, I don't remember exactly who sells it, but yeah, it's around 60 to 70 bucks, and I'm not gonna be paying for that because I have a bunch of nuts and bolts laying around. The only thing I don't have is the nylon washer. So, but yeah, I'm gonna put a bolt through like this, of course on here, but then I'm gonna have a nylon washer in between that kind of separates the nuts and bolts. And as for the wiring, I'm gonna put a ring terminal on. This is a M6. It's an M6 bolt, about 25 millimeter. Yeah, so I'm gonna get started and show these out. Snip these guys off and set it off to the side. And then you want to come around and snip these off as well. Now we can start drilling it out from the inside. So I'm gonna be drilling out this ground one as well. This one is separate from these. It is the next day. I am back with some more goodies, as you can see here on the right. And right after I ended that last clip, I did some more cleaning to this sending unit, and you can see the cover painted metallic. It's not too bad. Came out pretty nice. So I mean, there's still some rust in little corners that I can't get into, but it's all good. On my right here, these are the hardware that's needed to make the new post. So let me just go over it. Obviously you need a bolt, some nuts, washer, and this is a nylon washer. You're gonna need some heat shrink as well, and I'll tell you why this is very important. So the orientation, this is how it's gonna go. I've already done it to a few. So it's gonna be first off the heat shrink, and then followed by the washer, the metal washer, and then another washer. This one is a nylon, and then you'll have another nylon washer, and then metal washer, and to complete that with a nut. So this is the orientation. I'll give you guys an example. So here's a bolt with heat shrink already on. You want to get this metal washer and just bottom out there. Next is going to be the nylon washer right here, and then after that, after you put this metal washer, you can put your ring terminal in here with the wires attached, of course. And then you can put on your nylon washer. So this nylon washer is going to help seal the fuel from leaking through. So once you get that on, you can just feed it through the hole, just like so. And then at the top, you're going to grab another nylon washer, and you guys can see the heat shrink is slightly protruded out, and you don't want it to protrude out too much, just a little bit, because if it protrudes out too much when you put on this nylon washer, and then let's say if the heat shrink protrudes out past this nylon washer, when you come around with the nut, this nut will not bottom out. It will get stopped by the heat shrink. So that's why you want the heat shrink to be flush with the nylon washer here. You can see it's flush when I put the nylon washer on. So that's what you want. You don't want any heat shrink sticking past through. So the reason why there's a heat shrink here on the bolt is that you don't want metal to metal contact. You don't want the bolt to be making contact with this cover, or otherwise it's going to short out the circuit. So that's why this heat shrink is very important. And the holes, I actually had to drill it out a little bit bigger. Original hole is about 1564, so I drilled it out to about quarter inch. I use a quarter inch drill bit to enlarge the hole. So yeah, once you feed that through, put on the nylon washer, and then you want to add on another washer, which is the metal one. Then that's going to go on top. And then last, you can just snug it down with this nut. And then just tighten that up. And next you can grab your ring terminal, put it on here. Once you snug this down with the nut, I'm going to grab another ring terminal. Grab another washer. And then snug it down again with the nut. And then you're all good to go. That's it. So repeat the same thing through the last four. I suggest you guys just keep it loose so you can move the wires around, and because once it's all tightened, you can't really make adjustment. I mean, you can, but you're gonna have to go loosen all these nuts again. So yeah, just like this. If you do have a vacuum like cover or something, you want to put them on here on the stud so that nothing hits it and shorts out the wirings. I've got all the wires installed with the ring terminals on each end, so this is ready to go. We just gotta install it into the setting unit. So let's start off by installing the underside first. This is going to be the one going in the pump, in the fuel tank. Alright, so first it's going to be this black wire here with this thing on the end. You want to grab your nuts, or your bolts with the spacer, and feed it through the ring terminal. And next will be your nylon washer. So we're going to insert it on this first hole right here. Shoot another nylon washer. Metal washer. And just sandwich it up with the nut. Remember, just hand tight for now until you get all the wirings sorted out. And then this end piece is just gonna go on into this brackets right here. Like that. We'll worry about this one last. For now, it's just gonna be focusing on the underside. Okay, next you want to grab your pump wiring. This is the positive and ground wires for your pump. So on the second hole, it's going to be this black one, the ground. Okay, it's just going to go on like that. Okay, next one is gonna be this white one. This is the one that goes to the level sensor. Okay. Looks good. Alright. And next one's gonna be the positive wire for the pump. So I'm just putting this against the covers just so that I can bend this ring terminal so it sits flush. So if you see me put this against the cover, that's the reason why. You just want to put it on, bend it so it sits flush on the cover. Alright, now that everything is installed, I'm just gonna kind of mess around with the wirings and then snug it up once I'm happy with how the wires look. Just make sure they're not touching each other. Alright, it's good for now. And then we got one more last one. This is the ground. This is the ground from the harness itself, the connector. This black wire. Since I painted it metallic, I'm gonna have to sand it down so it's bare metal. Another thing that I forgot to mention is that this ground hole that I drilled out, this is a 15/64. The rest is all 1/4 inch. So just keep this ground hole at 15/64. The only reason why this is drilled a little bit bigger is just to fit the heat shrink, but you don't need it for that. So the orientation for this last ground hole is gonna be you're gonna get regular bolt, no heat shrink, and then you're gonna grab a washer, metal washer, and a nylon washer. Stick it through, and as for the top, instead of putting a nylon washer on there, you want to put the metal washer. Okay, the metal washer goes, and then next you're gonna grab your wiring harness, the black ground wire, put it on that post. Then you're gonna grab another washer, metal washer, put it on there, snug them up with the nut. That, and you're good to go. So we still gotta install the top 4 up here. So now that you have everything all tightened down, you want to start by connecting these wires one by one. First one is going to be, or after this ground, it's going to be the white and purple. It's the power wire for the pump. Put that on there. The washer, metal washer, and then the nut. Okay, just hand tight for now. Next one is going to be this yellow wire. Alright, Don't forget the washer. Okay, just like so. Fourth one's gonna be this blue and red. Alright, just kind of position the wires how you want it. Last but not least is this yellow and blue. Okay, easy. And all that's left is to install the pump, connect this white wire to the sending unit, and then you're all set. Moving on to the fuel pump itself. In this package is a connector for the pump, which I won't be needing this because the car already came with a connector for it. So it seemed the pump was replaced with another aftermarket pump. But yeah, I test fitted it and it does fit. So there's no need for me to do any soldering or splicing. All it is put on the filter, clamp on the hose, call it a day. So let's go ahead and open this package. So we're going to be using the filter and this rubber bushings. And the new hose and clamps. This little ring, the lock ring for the filter, right here. Alright, let's just move this off to the side. Bring in the pump. Alright, this is pretty much all you need. Start off with the filter. Let's take them off. Looks a lot better than the old one for sure. Alright, so this is where it's gonna go at the bottom here. Let's first take off this cap. Like that. And then this only goes in one way, so you can't make a mistake. So that hole right there, this tiny hole, you can see that goes onto this little stud right there. So only one way. Push it in until it clicks, like that. And then remember this this little ring. That's gonna lock the filter in place. So I just want to stick it in. Bruh, this freaking little retainer clip for the filter is a pain in the butt to install. I had to sacrifice my fingernails for that. Damn. But I got it on with the help of this 4mm socket. Fits perfectly on here. You just line it up on the retainer and just slightly, tap it down, and yeah, it should be fully seated now. So next is gonna be this insulator, pump insulator. This just prevents vibration on the sending unit where this pump sits. Alright, so let's put that in. So it's again one way. There's a slot on the bottom here. So these just line up on this. Okay, just like that. See? Real easy. And then with the sitting unit, it just sits like this. Like that. See? And then next, it's gonna be this hose. You're gonna have to cut it to length. So I'm gonna take the pump back off and then start with the pump side first. Snug it up. So I'm gonna make sure I snug it up real good, because on the old one, this part was loose and the fuel is leaking out from it. Alright, and then we're just gonna line it up and make our cut. So it's gonna be somewhere right here, right there. So now I'm gonna make the cut. I forgot the scissor at home. There you go. Don't forget the clamp. Put it back on. There you go. Okay, now I just gotta tighten this up. Okay, so once you got everything all tightened down, double check, triple check to make sure everything's all good. And you wanna support this pump. So what I'm gonna do is just zip tie the pump to the bracket here. So it's kind of hold the pumps in place. Okay, like that. You only needed one, but I'm gonna put two just in case. Okay, just like that. Snip off the ends. And again, just go around and double check. Make sure everything's all tight. Looks good. Alright then, now I can finally install this fuel level sensor. So it broke off from the sensor right there. You can see this little silver tab. All you gotta do is solder it back on and I'm done. Don't forget to connect the pump connectors. And then I'm going to be zip tying the wires onto the unit too, so just keep it nice and tidy. But after I solder this fuel level sensor wire onto here, this little silver tab on the corner came off while I was disassembling the pump, but it's easy. So let me get my soldering gun out and then we can solder this back on. So I have now completed the rebuild for the sending unit. The level sensor is on, pump filter is on, hose and clamps is on tight, and the connector And I try to make the wirings nice and tuck it in all the way in the back. And that's good enough for me. So yeah, don't forget to just go around and take your time, double check and make sure everything is tight, nothing is loose, because you don't want to have to come back in here and take things apart again. I'm done with the rebuild, and now all I gotta do is store it back into the car, and hopefully she runs. Pump's going back in. Let's get the floater in first. Make sure you still have your O-ring here for the cover. I'm reusing the old one because I forgot to purchase a new one. Okay, nice and tight. Don't forget about this cover. I'm just gonna feed the wires through, but I won't bolt it down just yet until I can start the car, that make sure that it works.